Hi friends, it's Barb Pask. I haven't been on in a while. I am just back in town from Wisconsin. We went up there and rented a cabin and spent several days up there, and it was hotter than heck. Our intention was to, I wanted to do some plein air painting. My husband he's a fly fisherman, and I mean, it was hotter there than it is here in Ohio, and it was in the 90s and it was humid. So sadly, he fished a little bit, and I just didn't, it was unbearable. So we had 3 full days there, and of those 3 days, 2 of those days we spent driving around. I took a ton of photos. It is beautiful up there. We were by Viroqua, which is past the Dells, if you're familiar with that area. But I mean, beautiful Amish farms everywhere. Just picture perfect, clean, not a lot of people. It's just beautiful. I mean, you'd look out across a big open space and you'd see clusters of farms and beautiful barns, and I mean, I just loved it. So I'm going to paint one of my reference photos. The proportions isn't right, but we're going to make it work. This is one of the scenes I took. And I could crop it to make the proportions right, but we're just going to extend it, kind of, is my plan. I'm going to do something a little different. If you find yourself, which I do this sometimes, you mix every color for the photo, and it doesn't feel like everything really works together. A way you can help yourself make that work is to mix up a puddle of a grade, kind of, you can call it a mud, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to make a color. I'm going to use the 3 primaries, ultramarine and yellow, which of course is green. And then that I'm going to throw some red. And my plan is to, and of course this looks more green than anything. And there's a lot of green in that photo. But my plan is to put some of this into every color I put up there. You know, more or less. But it's, how well that reads to you, kind of a grade green mixture. And, you know, it can make your painting more uniform, and just give it a try. I've got a little one over there I should have grabbed that I did a long time ago. Let me grab it. I think I can. This is one that I did, and I used this green-gray mixture, something similar to it, and it went in every mixture that went on this canvas. And I think it, again, sometimes, you know, colors can feel like they don't belong. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but so what we're going to do is sketch this on. Again, my plan is to kind of extend it. So we got a foreground of more kind of yellow stuff. And let me know if you've been up into that area. I mean, I said, this is heaven. It just beautiful. At one point, my husband stopped the car and got out. I was like, what are you doing? And he grabbed a horseshoe off the road that one of the Amish horses had kicked off. I thought that was kind of cool. A couple little buildings here in front, and then the big barn. Kind of looking at this space here next to the silo to help myself. There's a lot of green stuff growing on this silo. So I've been cropping photos and editing photos since I got home. One thing I did notice, this silo is typical with the rounded top. That's typical of what you see in this area where I live. course, you did see, obviously, this was up there. But a lot of them you saw, they were kind of pointed. They came up and then there was a point on the top. I hadn't seen any like that. Some of them had that cute checked pattern across them. I'm trying to look at negative space, how much space on this side of the barn that I see. Went out and painted today at a farm not too far from here. It was wonderful too. Red barns everywhere, and this is an 8 by 10. You know, just something else to try if you haven't tried this. And again, mix up a gray tone of the 3 primaries. And you can, if you prefer, you can pull up more red, more yellow. I mean, and again, just put some of it into all your mixtures.
Oh, yeah.
The silo almost is in the center. I'm deciding if I like that is what I'm doing. We may pull it off a little bit. I can see a little bit of a window there. All right, so I think we'll just start off and we'll block in some of this green. And I like to start with Indian yellow and ultramarine blue, which is a transparent green, but we'll pull some of this green that we made into there too. And we'll just kind of scrub it on. And if you're going to get very close to the top, I would run it off. Yeah, it finally rained the night before we left, and oh, man, I was happy to see it just to cool it off. And we pulled out of there on, this is Tuesday, and we pulled out of there on Saturday, and that was the best it had felt. But it's Kickapoo Valley Ranch. I would recommend the place. It was a beautiful cabin and really nice experience. They have a bakery there, so they greet you with the cookies. These are water mixable oils, and if I wanted to thin, I put a little water in them. Again, even though I'm making a green, and I'm grabbing some of this green I made too and throwing it into. I try not to color in the lines. I'd rather go, you know, overlap if I had to and go back. Got a kind of a shadow coming across here. I put a little more, I put cad yellow medium in it and a little white for this lighter green that's in the grass. The white cools it. Just getting this blocked in. This is going to be, I think it's straw, I don't know. It's a soft yellow color, which is kind of nice in the foreground. And I think rather than run it straight across, we're going to kind of run it at an angle. I think it would be more interesting. And then we'll come back into this area with more of a yellow-green and highlight areas of these trees when we're ready. I want to make sure I like the shape of this before we move on though. Okay, we're going to make a blue for the sky. So I'm going to take some cobalt. Someone asked me to talk a little bit more about my color mixing, and I'll try to do that. So some cobalt and white. Even though the sky is blue, we're going to grab some of that green and throw it in. Because again, I want all my colors to work together. So, you know, I'm always trying new things, you know. If it doesn't work, it's no big deal, you know. What do you got to lose? Sometimes we invest so much in a painting, you know, and don't get me wrong, I want every painting to work, but they don't always, and I just move on to the next one, and sometimes I paint over them, and sometimes I throw them away. But if you've got one that's not working, don't beat it to death and work at it for, you know, months and months and months trying to make it work. You're not having fun anymore then, and you know, you should just move on. I know a lot of people do work at them for months. As I move down closer, I'm going to put a little more white and a little more cad yellow medium in it. Not light enough. You know, there's some clouds in this. You know, if it was a whole lot of sky, it would probably matter more to me. But you don't see much of the sky in this. See, I had white on the brush there. This is why you don't want to get white on the brush too early. I think we'll go ahead and block that in. We'll just keep moving. And that is just a very pale yellow-white color. But again, I'm grabbing some of that green. And hopefully, I'm trying to get my colors to harmonize, you know. I've done paintings, you know, where maybe you paint the foreground green and it doesn't work with anything else, you know. So my hope with this is, again, that things harmonize more. Mixing just a little more green in it. And this doesn't mean this will be the final pass at this. We may come back in with heavy paint, and I don't know. Thank you if you're a new I can't even talk. Thank you if you're a new subscriber. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Hopefully you're enjoying my videos. I do a little bit of everything. All right. I'm looking at the shape of these little buildings here. We've got a lot of Amish here in Ohio, in Holmes County, Ohio. We've been there several times. Not as big of a community as there is up there, and it's gotten a little bit commercialized too. Like I said, up where we were there just even wasn't a lot of people. It was so nice. And maybe it was a time of year that we were there too, I don't know. Okay, we'll block in. It looks white actually. There's a bit of a shadow here, and the top of the silo, and this building's white. So what we'll do is we'll take some white and we'll mix a little bit of our green into it, our green-gray mixture. Just playing around here, and maybe even a little bit of our blue sky mixture. But it looks very light in the photo, so and everything is relationships. Until we get all this blocked in, I won't know. I may, you know, not be light enough. Some kind of little vent up here on the top. I don't know whether I'm mixing up a little bit of ultramarine and crimson for a purple, and I'm going to mix that into that white mixture for my shadow. And the front of the barn and the side is red. There's a real bright spot here that's catching light. So let's make a red, and I'll take some crimson and some Cad Red Light. Those are my two reds. Okay, now we're going to mix some of the green in there, and we're going to put some more crimson because I want to pull it darker. And maybe a little blue, a little ultramarine. Trying to get the color for our, there's a bit of a shadow on the red part. My brushes are Rosemary and Company. They're the Evergreen series. They're soft. I'm going to put a little more yellow in this because this is the front of the building, and it's catching sunlight there. See how much better that felt when I wiped it out even. That's over a little far. Let's wipe that out for now. Now the side is in shadow, so we'll go back to that shadow color that I made, and I work with a limited palette, if you don't know that. 2 blues, 2 reds, 2 yellows, and then a white, of course, and I have my extras are transparent red oxide and Indian yellow. I don't clean my brush a lot, but I just now did for the first time, I think. I'm seeing something I need to adjust. This roof goes back behind the silo. In the front of this little building, some of this is really bright white, so again we're going white, And I may put a little dab of yellow, which is what I would usually do for a building in light. But again, I'm grabbing some of that green and putting some green in it. That's bright white, and part of that is the bottom of this building, just kind of a taupey color. So we'll take some transparent red oxide, maybe some of our Indian yellow, some white, and a little bit of our green. We have to use a green. There is a good book by Helen Van Wyck on, I'll dig it out if I think of it next time and show you, but it's color recipes. It's a good book. It's, you know, a lot of times you don't know where to start, like if you're painting copper or, but she's got color recipes, and you know, you might, I don't know if you can still buy the book or not, but might set you off on the right path, you know, give you an idea where to start. So again, I'll try to see, dig it up and bring it in. Pretty small brush to be using. And then the side of that building gets a bit darker because it's away from the light. So we'll take some of that purple mixture and of course white and some of our green, and we'll do the side. And the same mixture might work for the roof. Let's try that. I've said this before, but one thing I love about farms is they just stick up a building all over the place as they need them. I think that's so cool. It's an unusual little building there. I don't know how I feel about it. Right now I'm just painting what I see. Just a square looking little building. And there's some detail on these. There's a little window here. The brush is sure splayed out for a liner brush. And there's a window here. Just using the purple and the green mixture for a dark. Little door here. small detail to be messing with, I know. Alright, it's blocking the silo. It's a, oh wait a minute, let me get a little bit of this, go back in and fill this in right here. Okay, the silo is kind of a grayed brown color. And usually for a gray, you mix the 3 primaries. So let's try that. Let's just take some of that green we made and put more red in it. Okay. Now I'm going after more blue, and I'm going to pull some white into it now and see what we got. Hard to tell sometimes till you get white in it what your mixture is. It's dark. Let's lighten it up. And we got to bring the silo down below the barn. Now I want to darken up some of that mixture, so I'm going to throw some of our green in it. You know, and you have to decide how detailed you want to get with this stuff, you know. Do you want to paint every little ring in there that you see? It's up to you. Of course, it's your painting, so that's all an individual thing. Now down the whole side of this barn is windows, a row of windows. And actually, I think I'm seeing some foundation too. We'll put that in. But I don't know that the windows are important. I mean, it's not like I'm commissioned to do this or anything, and the people that own this barn are going to see it. We will suggest one of those windows up there, though, that we see. Now this barn has, I mentioned that I think there's like ivy growing up it. Alright, we got the canvas covered. So let's take a look at it and think about developing some things now. Alright, I think we'll go back into the trees and we'll take Cad Yellow Medium and a little bit of the green that we've been working with. I want something lighter. So we'll just look at our photo and try to look at where, you know, the clumps stand out. Maybe think about edges. You know, when you do this, you don't want to wipe out all your darks. Fall will be here before we know it, and gosh, isn't that a beautiful time of year? Get out, maybe get some fall photos. And actually, no matter what the time of year, I think it can be nice to put orange in, throw some oranges in your trees, and you know, that happens naturally that they're dying, or but I frequently do that even if I don't see it. I think I mentioned this to you before. Years ago, a lady I used to take lessons from, she always felt like trees were explained by their edges, you know. You can do whatever you want in the middle, but for her, it was all about those little edges that you left. break up the pure white roof a little bit. Get our liner brush here. I'll go back and clean that up. Too tall. And I don't know if that makes sense, you know, I'll have to get away from it later and decide. Like I said, there's a shadow that runs across here. Don't really know what it's coming from, and it doesn't really matter. throw some more green down in here. So when we get back here and redo this, it won't be quite so pale. We'll have some color variation in it, maybe. Alright, so if you brush down like this, you don't catch as much light. Choose is a good way to finish it off. Okay, I'm taking yellow and some of the green and some white, coming up with something a bit lighter. Alright, so we'll mix up something for down here, which was just Indian yellow and white and a little bit of our green. Could use our little kind of rubber palette knife for this. If I had toned the canvas first, I mean, you could, you know, score through this and see your tone color. Varying the colors a little bit. I see some of that in the photo. Alright, one thing I do see is I think I have a rim around the barn where I didn't quite go into it with. I have a darker rim around the barn. I don't know if you can see that or not. I said we could try some rings on here and see what we think. I mean, I can always take them all. I just don't want them to be perfect. So you want to skip around kind of, and I'm going to do part of a line and, you know, break it up. One nice thing you can do is come in and paint negative space. That always looks really nice. Try a little palette knife on this stuff that's in the foreground growing on this silo. See what we think of that. One fun thing about oil paints, you know, you can lay some texture in there. We could do that in the foreground if we wanted. I'm digging for a tool here. Here it is. It is called a Catalyst by Princeton. It's like a flexible palette knife. If you've watched me paint, you may have seen me use it. I thought we might use it here and maybe make a fun texture, you know. People don't have to ever, you know, understand everything you've done. How you created it, and, you know, you just want it to be interesting. Still got a bit of a dark line around that barn. Like I said, let's mix up just a little orange. I feel like I want to, and we'll still throw some of our green in it. And then maybe we'll put a little bit of that here and there in our trees. Maybe some in the grass too. But leave me your feedback, leave me your comments. I really like your comments, and if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. I've mentioned it before, but when we hit 500 subscribers, I will give away a painting again. I've done that once, but we'll do it again. That's an awful lot for that area. See, I started to put that on and I didn't have my green in it, so I threw some of the green in it. Again, we're trying to harmonize and make the colors feel like they all work together. Hopefully we've done that. I'm looking around to see what bothers me. Decide how we feel about that. All right. I mean, there may be something as I look at it later on that I don't like, but for now, I think we'll go ahead and sign it, because sometimes I forget to do that. Doesn't mean I can't still work on it, right? All right, I'll back you out and show you. Take you in. See, there's texture on the foliage on the silo. May or may not work. There's our reference again. So hopefully you feel like we accomplished what we set out to do, was to have color harmony. I see a few things already that I'm going to maybe work with. Not sure this angle feels the same as this angle. So, all right, thank you for joining me. Watch for me, like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and then they'll notify you when I post another painting. Thank you so much for joining me. You have a nice evening.